All right. Create your first 5 clients. And I actually mean create instead of get. That's a way different energy around all of it. I'm going to make everyone a little bit bigger because then I actually can see facial expressions. I like talking to actual people instead of the computer. Like to create. In a certain way, you need to create awareness of people that like need your service in the first place. Because many of us are in a certain way like coaching, consulting, or anything else, like I mentioned, like the hypnotherapy or the speech consultant, or all of the, like I'm going to work together with a speech coach nowadays, like in the near future. And most people don't yet realize how much benefit that they require out of that. So his journey is to make aware how much value that they receive if they improve their language model. And whatever service that you're offering, it starts with that. Like, what kind of value can I actually add upon their life? With the whole summary underneath that is lead with value. Like, really, really lead with value. Like 95% of all of the stuff that I'm doing is actually like leading with value first. Like give so much beforehand that they would say like, hey, you helped me so much, let's actually go deeper. And that's a way different perspective comparison to just selling your hours. So that's a little bit of the distinction. Can I use my, yeah. All right. For those who weren't here yesterday, last week, I a little bit summarized it in comparison to the last time. My name is Tim Goertz. I've been educated as an electrical engineer. So I've really got a way of electrical or like engineering way of thinking. That's also why my language model isn't that amazing comparison to other people as well sometimes. So uh, give me some credit. Like I understand math, but language is a little bit different. Um, but the reason why I wrote down engineer is also something that Elon Musk calls first principle thinking. Like really tune in, like what works and what doesn't work, and find the differences between what works and what doesn't work. And like be so precise and so accurate upon that difference. And then you can create bigger jumps. That's a really, really important one. I really would love to have everyone to be an engineer. Then the world would be so much easier. All right. The second thing is the visionary. Um, you're seeing it already. Like I've got focus, aim, and EQ. Like I'm really, really passionate about these 3 projects that I have. In this webinar and in the previous one, the digital footprint one, we're fully going to focus on focus with the idea of enhancing your business model to actually create wealth out of this one and to give wealth. Like the main focus is to give wealth because all of us have something to share, to say, to help someone if we find the person that actually needs our service. And that's the underlying thought, which is quite important. Wrote down as well, like focused and driven, because it's, I don't know, me. Now together with Jason, I'm going to do weekly webinars on different topics. So focus is one, but aim is one as well, mindful productivity, and I to EQ is emotional mastery. With going through the emotional skills of consciousness, that idea. So I'm really passionate about these things. All right. Last week I got a little bit of feedback as in, hey, it was kind of all over the place. And I really want to tune into like actually improving that for you guys as well here. So we're first going to start with about a 20-minute presentation, maybe even 25, because I do notice that I'm speaking a little bit slower and less rushed. compared to the last one. And after that one, the Q&A will open up. In that same regard, feel free to send a voice message, a chat message, with the idea that Jason could actually like read them and then hand it over to me. In such a way, like the collaboration with Jason and me is like really amazing. And then we can spar around your topic or your question. Feel free to put it there like randomly, constantly during the presentation. All right. So in that regard, Jason, are there any questions already?
Not yet, sir.
All right. Amazing. All right. Now the real presentation starts. I want to reframe the concept of a career. A lot of the people, or at least that was my thinking in the past, like that career was that level of symbol, like this where you were going through, like the look at me in my suit and all of that internal status. Currently, and Jason, are you able to mute Daniel? Thank you. Currently, I personally reframed that into the career is value creation. Like really create value. Like whatever job that I do is value creation because it's adding value upon the quality of life for someone else. This could be of a level of like cleaning toilets. This could be in a level of, I don't know, data analytics, just like putting on data on a computer. Like this is adding value upon someone else's life. That's the whole definition of career, how I see it, at least. And we're going to go a little bit deeper upon that one if we're leaning into what exactly is value itself and how can you package it into your service as an individual. Because we first need to have something to sell, to give. Like what's the package that we're actually giving? What's the value that we're giving? There is a sales and marketing expert called Alex Ramosi, and he's really amazing, great at this stuff. I actually got his like book here as well. Shout out to Alex. And he talks about a value definition, and I really love this thing because what I see sometimes happening is that people create a difference between the structure, what they offer, and the definition of value. So sometimes I see, like, what do I offer? I offer a 3-month package, and in that package, we're going to have one-on-one conversation each week. And based on that, your whole life is going to change. It's like, yeah, but what exactly do you offer? And that's a very important difference to know. So that's why I added this value definition here, kind of being mindful upon time as well. A lot of people only try to sell the dream outcome, like that amazing lifestyle without no limitation. Like especially with coaching, say it a little bit different. With coaching, it's like that ideal lifestyle that you want to have. No limiting factors, no fear anymore. Like that's the dream outcome. But that's not the definition just yet, or the value definition, because that's part of it, but it's not everything. Also part of it is how likely am I, if I'm offering you guys a service, to actually hand you that result. So the likelihood of achievement is important. And the more testimonials and the more success stories that you have gathered, the more likely that you can actually help the dream outcome to achieve the dream outcome for your client or for your person. And that's a very important one to know. A little bit of added definition there. It's about the perceived likelihood of achievement. So how much that they think that you can achieve that. It doesn't really matter how much that you are convinced with that. Well, it does matter a little bit, but it's not the overarching like power. That's not the actual driver here. It's how they actually perceive you. All right. Like I mentioned that I was an engineer, so I do a lot of the stuff in formulas. This is like the summation, like the multiplication of them, like divided by the time delay. Let's imagine that I am very skilled with personal training to actually get you fit and healthy and all of that stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's a great dream outcome. And I've already helped 1,000 people to achieve that. But it will take you 10 years. You're like, I don't have any 10 years. I want to be like in the next summer break. I want to have that, what do you call that, bikini body? Like summer body at least. Um, but the time delay itself is actually important. And let's imagine if I can have that, give that dream outcome for you, if I've already done that for 1,000 people, and it only cost you a week. And you're like, where can I sign? Even if it costs 10,000 euros. If it's actually a week with that dream outcome, you're probably already sold. Um, so because it's beneath the divided by line, um, the lower that your time delay is, the higher that your value definition becomes. So if it takes 10 years, then the value is lower. And if it takes you a week, then the value is higher. So it's wise to think about that difference. All right. And the effort and sacrifice. If all of the other variables are the same, and let's keep it on the example of health and fitness or improving your health, then it's actually, let's imagine that it's within 3 months you can achieve your ideal body. But the effort that you need to take is eat clean every day, exercise constantly, no alcohol, no sugar, only water. Like really, really, you need to put in a lot of effort. Then the value definition is actually lower. Because you're like, yeah, of course, if I train 3 months constantly, I know that I have that dream body. Like it makes sense. But let's imagine if I say like, yeah, but you don't need to do that much. It's actually like a device or an vibrational music sound. Like it actually vibrates. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up at the moment. Um, but what if I can offer you something that does have the same time delay, but it doesn't have the effort for you to put in the heavy work? Then the definition of value actually increases. This whole thing, like go over every offer that you have and write down these 4 variables. What's the dream outcome here? What's the likelihood of me achieving that for that person or with that person? In which time frame? Like, and don't lie about this. Actually be very, very open and honest about that one. Especially like the perceived likelihood of achievement. Like, if everything else is okay, but you don't have any success stories just yet, start practicing. A lot of the stuff of how to create your first 5 clients is to actually start practicing instead of wanting to convert that into a sale just yet. As a lot of the solopreneurs have a vision, a passion about what they offer, that they're like, I personally am shouting my knowledge off of the roofs constantly. Like that's my energy. And if you are like, it's a job, it's okay, then it's a different energy. And then this line of work is not for you, maybe. So that's something to tune into for yourself. Um, yeah. Jason, are there any questions, comments, maybe from you yourself?
Yeah, maybe lean into the statement that you just said about whether you're ready to shout from the mountaintops, if you will, that aspect, or if you're feeling a little less than ready to share. Could that also be due to not having enough practice yet, or belief in yourself that could come through more practice? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Um, yeah, both in a certain way. Um, like I really want to tune into, we've kind of been the propaganda of society or just culture by itself kind of forced you into believing that you're not enough to offer something. And that's such a deep one that's like going through all of the layers for yourself. And it's like even trusting that, and you need to practice to know that journey. Because if you are never practiced, like I've practiced for about a year with my services, it's like, who can I help? Who can I help? Who can I help? Constantly. Like to the level of people get annoyed for me to offer that help. Like, and I'm totally fine with that because I have such a drive internally that I'm like, who can I serve? Who can I serve? Who can I serve? Um, and what a lot of it is stopping us is the idea that it is about me as an individual, but it's actually about them. If you believe that you have a solution for someone else's problems, that person is like, who can help me? Like, I've got no idea. But they're not actually actively searching for you just yet. You need to find them. You need to find your own clients. So I hope that clarified a little bit, Jason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was great. Um, and I also had another question if they could have another example of the effort and sacrifice required for a or in this equation.
Yeah. Um, money, money, time, and actual effort, like me putting in the work. Um, because let's imagine that my service actually cost $1,000, then the value proposition, the trade-off, is more worth compared to my services costing 10,000 euros. So that's a big one. Um, and time as well. Like, let's imagine in the previous webinar I shared like the digital footprint, and later on after the call you're coming to me like, hey Tim, like create me this digital footprint. I'm like, great. You'll need to spend the upcoming year to craft so many things, to so many pieces of content, and you need to spend about 4 hours a day to achieve a certain thing. It's not actually true, but let's imagine if that's the proposition. Then you spending the time is the effort, the sacrifice that you need to give. Because my underlying premise, my underlying belief is the goal itself is to feel freedom. And if you need to spend so many times to, or so many hours to do a certain thing, then you're not actually experiencing freedom just yet. So that's a sacrifice that someone needs to give in. So this is also the reason why sometimes a 3 month package is actually less worth compared to a three session package. Like, I need to listen to you like for 3 months? Huh? Could be the case. So it's wise to identify that difference. Or anything else for this subject?
Just to lean a little bit more into that, the time, I think a lot of times we in a service-based business or especially coaching business, we sometimes get caught up in thinking that by offering more time with the clients, is actually more beneficial for them, where in some cases it's the exact opposite. They value their time higher and would rather have shorter sessions with us. Could you speak to that?
Well, um, what I personally do with coaching, like I coach around insight. And sometimes after 10 minutes, after 20 minutes, like the person like, yeah, it's good. Like I don't need to fill the whole hour. And sometimes we feel like that we're selling our time. But the value underneath it is that insight. Like your world shifts. Um, Rich Litvin talks about that as well quite often. Um, so you're not actually selling your time, and also with a package. Like it's not actually 3 months, 3 months, 12 weeks, 1 hour. This is the package that you're offering. Like here's a couple of my time. But within that framework, you're leaning into creating multiple insights. And for the coachee, it's about the insights, not about the time. The time is a driver in which that you can create those insights. But if you're only offering the driver without actually having the insights, then it's actually worth not that much. Or maybe it's even more reputation damaging comparison to helping you. All right. Yeah, going a little bit further upon that one. Be aware between the value definition and the structure. Um, I see so many people actually offering structure. And that's a real big difference. In the ideal situation, you want to be so idealistic about dream outcome. Like I perceive everyone to escape that feeling of busyness constantly, that feel of lack, that feel of like that emotional mastery, like being master of their own emotional skills. Like I really love talking about the dream outcome of my offer. And then I talk a little bit about the likelihood of achievement. How many people have I actually helped with that? So I talk about situations, insights that I had together with people, and then in which time frame. Sometimes in 20 minutes I give that insight, and that whole world shifts. Great. What's the effort? They need to have a conversation with me. The effort is they need to be comfortable with actually having a live call to speak English. So like all of these little nuggets, we don't actually think about what kind of effort that they need to do. Because let's imagine that you're a coach and you are helping people who are depressed. If you are depressed, you do not want to see yourself on the screen. Like that hurts next level. And that's also an effort that they need to go over. You need to think about that with your offer. So it goes so much deeper comparison to what we might perceive offer or hey, I'm doing this for free. Why aren't you like jumping up and down to join me? Well, I don't have an hour. I don't want to be on camera. Maybe it's actually not helping me compared to you think it is. And all of these little things are sleeping in. So that's why, yeah, like practice is good. Actually, practice to create leads. Clients. All right. 28 minutes. Um, Creating leads. What exactly is a lead? If you have the offer that you have, the dream outcome, then the lead is someone who's interested in your service. Nothing. It's not about selling just yet. It's not about anything. It's just like someone, hey, this is interesting what you're doing. Where can I like follow you or find more of you or how can I be in touch? Like that's actually a lead. Then of course you have the difference between like a very cold lead and a very hot lead. And that's more the likelihood of them actually wanting to have more of you. This is really great in tune with the digital footprint. If people love what you do, how your energy is, how you're like you as an individual, then they want to consume more of you for them. Um, and that's such a nice state because you don't need to do that live. And if you're having your whole client funnel, it's not even a client funnel, but it's about your digital footprint and you're helping with your digital footprint and people are consuming that and later on they're saying like, yeah, like I want to continue go further, to actually be in a workshop, be in a webinar, to actually have that next state. And then it's like, hey, yeah, great. This is what I offer. And then you come with a structure. Maybe even perhaps. Be very, very careful with actually converting someone to a sale. That's an important one. All right. How to create a lead? To ask. Like, hey, what are you struggling with? Like I've specialized myself on mindful productivity, on business, on sales, on all of that stuff, on camera, like the camera views and all of that stuff, and editing. So I've like specialized on certain things, and I'm asking you questions based on those topics. Hey, what are you struggling with? And based on me identifying what they're struggling with, that's the definition of creating a lead. Because if I understand what you're struggling with, and I feel like that I can offer you something with that, it's like, hey, what if I could actually solve this for you? What if I could do some video editing of the thing that you were wanting to do for all of last 2 years? Then they're like, yeah, I might actually be interested in that. And then you got them hooked. It's maybe even the wrong word, but interested. It's maybe a better definition. All right. Let's imagine, let's have it on the topic of digital footprint, the topic of last week. If I do feel like that I have a lot of conversation with people, then I'm actually starting to make an offer itself. And the offer itself is, do you know someone who's struggling with their digital footprint? That is like, feels like it's an extra job to actually promote all of the stuff on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and all of this stuff without it actually like turning. Like it's not actually getting that person somewhere. Do you know someone that is looking for that dream outcome to use that within their power to actually just like free flow and to experience that freedom and having clients come in? I could help you achieve that within 3 months with, well, less effort comparison to what you're doing now, with the feeling of needing to promote stuff or to create content. So are you interested? So like that one of the examples, but the main thing is here to offer that to the friends. So do you know someone who needs something like this? And if you ask enough, like really, really asking is so important, especially with coaching. Like the whole concept constantly is, of course, um, asking. Asking because you're interested in that person. Comparison to, hey, I've got a solution for you here. No, no, no. Let's just clarify the whole situation from them. Um, yeah. And now we're already at the end for this one. And I really want to like emphasize lead with value. Like create so much amazing content that someone like me can actually go through that and understand what exactly are you offering? Like what kind of value are you giving? And it's a close difference between content creation and value creation. And the biggest difference is like your motivation. Like most content creators do it for the likes and for the more engagement. And your main focus should be to improve your message in such a way that you can help those that you feel like that you can help. So that's a little bit the distinction between those two.